The Thai Alliance for Human Rights ภาคีไทยเพื่อสิทธิมนุษยชน 1268 Grant Avenue 3rd floor San Francisco, California 94133 Subject Help Thailand at the risk of becoming a failed state with a civil war. Attention International friends of Thailand, governments, ambassadors, and human rights defenders. The Thai Alliance for Human Rights, which is a non-governmental, non-profit, and politically non-partisan organization registered with the state of California, the United States of America, on June 28, 2012, condemns all the forms of violence, undemocratic acts, and violations of the universal human rights in Thailand as a result of its unresolved and worsening political conflicts that began before the 2006 coup d'etat. We would like to invite you to consider our statement and join us in pressuring all the rights abusers so that all parties seek open dialogues, adopt non-violent means, respect all universal human rights, and observe all democratic principles. Before pinpointing who to blame in the extended and escalating political conflict and violence triggered by the 2006 coup d'etat, let's consider whether the following description of Thai politics is agreeable. After the revolution in 1932, to eliminate the absolute monarchy regime and establish democracy, the elites and royalists fought back and managed to take back power from the revolution members and drastically changed the Thai constitution 15 years later so that the Thai monarch would become more revered, untouched, and more powerful. King Bhumibol, who ascended the throne on May 5, 1950, has endorsed the following coup d'etats. In November 29, 1951, military overthrows 1949 Constitution and reverse to 1932 Constitution. September 21, 1957, Sarit Thanarat overthrows แปลกพิบูลสงคราม October 1958, Sarit Thanarat overthrows ถนอมกิตติขจร November 18, 1971, ถนอมกิตติขจร overthrows his own parliament. October 6, 1976, สงัดชะลออยู่ overthrows เสนีปราโมท October 20, 1977, เกรียงศักดิ์ชมนันท์ overthrows ธานินทร์ไกรวิเชียร February 24, 1991, สุนทร คงสมพงษ์ overthrows ชาติชายชุนหวัน and September 19, 2006, สนธิบุญยรัตน์กลิ่น overthrows ทักษิณชินวัตร Since the 1950 coronation, Thailand has sadly witnessed the following massacres. 1997 Thai student uprising during October 14, 1973 in Bangkok resulted in the death of 77 people and over 800 people injured. On October 6, 1976, the Thammasat University massacre in Bangkok, 46 people were killed and about 147 people were injured. Another one, Black May in 1972, on May 17, 1992 in Bangkok, 52 people were killed, hundreds were injured, plus many disappearances and over 3,500 arrests. In 2004, April 28, the Crusade incident in Pattani province, 32 people were killed. It was reported that excessive use of power was made in contradiction of orders from the Minister of Defense. On October 25, 2004, the Tak Bai incident, Tak Bai, Narathiwat province, 85 people were killed. In 2010, Thai military crackdown during April and May 2010 in Bangkok. About 100 people were killed and over 2,000 people were injured. After each of these massacres, victims did not find their justices, and royal amnesty was usually granted. And interestingly, after all these political incidents and violent episodes, royally trusted figures rose to power, and the amended or rewritten constitutions became less democratic, increasing the monarchy's strength and creating elements that hinder democratic progress. Through these manipulative and structurally subtle developments, however, Thais have been made to believe they are ruled under democracy. So, they have also learned to adopt words associated with democracy, such as voting rights, people's power, elections, distribution of wealth, people as recipients of national benefits, and so on. What we see now and during the past 8 years may be summed up as a class struggle or the clash between the status quo or the royalist and elitist attempt to enforce their cleverly established and monarchically centered elements of authorities, and the democratic citizens who challenge the status quo. The Thaksin Shinawatras phenomenon only proves that the latter know their power too, and they have elected the party that promises and delivers the most benefits and hope. Because Thaksin became the most powerful threat to the status quo in the last decade, as the political parties under his directorship too were dissolved and the Pheu Thai party is now under threat, won particular votes from the grassroots despite all the odds presented by the royalist and elitist forces. Thaksin's supporters, the red shirts, may have been inspired by his charisma and ability to deliver the promised benefits, but having realized that the forces ganging up against the Thaksin camp are the conservative royalist and minority elites trying to monopolize democratic power and keep the wealth among them. Truly democratic citizens now demand only democratic means and reject the opposite. Now is when the two poles are colliding. The Thai status quo has used all its collaborative elements, namely the classically woven loyalty to the monarch, the influential privy council members, palace-connected armies, the royalist and conservative political party, the Democrat, the royalist government officials, palace-allied business giants, royalist citizens, and now the judicial bodies added to the 1997 Constitution and further empowered in the 2007 Constitution. What is happening now is already acknowledged by many Thais and some international media as a silenced coup orchestrated by the elements above. After the army coup d'etat in 2006 that resulted in an appointed royal government, the Constitution Court and the other independent judicial bodies have lavishly exercised their authorities. Resisting political parties have been dissolved, while the Democrat Party, even with evident proofs of guilt, has been well guarded. When the red shirts rose up against the undemocratically powered government of Mr. Abhisit Vejjajiva in 2009 and 2010, the royal armies closely connected to the royal family were employed to brutally murder unarmed protesters on the ground that they had to use firearms because men in black had attacked them. After losing the subsequent election in 2011, the Democrat, as a main opposition party, has done virtually everything inside the parliament to stop any attempt by the Yingluck government and the parliament to amend the undemocratic elements in the 2007 constitution and to deliver the promised policies to the people. The goal of the status quo has been clear since 2011, that the Yingluck government must be stopped before it could implement all the plans to modernize the country and to successfully carry out its populist projects. Thus, the Democrats' actions of creating dilemmas in the parliament, destroying the legitimacy of the Yingluck administration and the parliament, and resigning to force an end to the parliament were just the beginning. The Democrat Party, taking the agendas further to the street under the name of the People's Democratic Reform Committee or PDRC, should not be regarded as a single plot of its own, without orchestrated efforts by all its allies under many names but with familiar faces. Why did the Yingluck government have to dissolve the parliament? Surely it did so partly to avoid violence, and because it believed it could win the resulted election. Perhaps the PDRC has some legitimate ground for its protest, especially the rather selfish blanket amnesty bill and some corruption allegations. However, the government decided to withdraw the bill, and the allegations have not yet been properly investigated. Of course, the announced PDRC goal of Parliament resolution or Yingluck resignation was just a game. It appeared later that the PDRC wanted to get rid of the Thaksin regime, the Shinawatra, and the election scheme under which the Democrat Party can never win. Its goals marry perfectly with the status quo's unnegotiable plot. To make the long story short, the PDRC is an important rule of the status quo, and therefore it must be protected, immune from all harms, and facilitated by the royalist allies. If you agree that the above observation or description is at least somewhat true, you may be able to understand why the following illegal, undemocratic, and rights abusive acts are possible in Thailand. PDRC and other allied protesters, under several names, have completed their actions qualified as rebels according to the Article 68 of the 2007 Constitution. But the Constitution Court has ruled that their acts are peaceful and rightful. The police have not been able to arrest Mr. Suthep Thueksuban and core leaders, despite many hard proofs, for about 3 months now. PDRC guards have been found to be armed and intoxicated people with criminal histories, an army of officers affiliated with units involved in the 2010 massacres. Many video clips have shown their rights abusive acts against other civilians, such as verbally harassing, searching bodies, beating, destroying governmental and private properties, shooting, and many more, resulting in serious injuries and an increasing number of deaths. In spite of these acts, the Thai police have been ordered not to use any weapons while on duty. The Royal Thai Army officers in power now, also Royal Guards, have been trying to protect the PDRC leaders from being arrested by the Thai police. PDRC leaders have on many occasions used hate speech, eliciting violent acts by its supporters. Unfair or unsubstantiated accusations, insulting and rude words, dehumanizing and demonizing terms, and many abusive tactics on stages. However, they are clever enough to show the images of good-looking, fun-loving, kind and generous protesters to the domestic and international media, while their guards have done so many nasty, illegal and rights-abusive things elsewhere. PDRC members want to avoid an election under the same scheme according to the 2007 Constitution, again, under which they cannot win. They want to reform some things unclear before the next election. At least we can understand that they want to change some rules so that they could somehow win an election. Other reform schemes are vague as to who to do it, how they can be legitimately selected, what to reform, which legal grounds support the move, and so on. Therefore, PDRC has failed to elicit support from Thai citizens, resulting in efforts to shut down Bangkok and to use violence so as to pave the way for another military coup d'etat instead of an election that would legitimize the return of the Yingluck government. Given also that the Democrat Party has decided to boycott the scheduled February 2nd election, whose timing is dictated by the 2007 Constitution, which means that the Democrat Party will not have participated in 2 elections within 8 years and will be subject to an automatic dissolution. The PDRC has to take more abusive and violent actions to stop or nullify the February 2nd election. Therefore, we have seen the PDRC members abusing the rights of other people during the January 26th early election by blocking gates to election booths, using whistles to irritate voters, physically pressuring and threatening registered voters, beating, harming, shooting, and forcing election officials to abandon duties. The Thai Alliance for Human Rights has been worried about the predicted and now seemingly inevitable political clash in the form of fatally violent confrontations in the face of a failed state and even a resorted civil war. We do not side with any group, but we believe that all parties in Thailand must respect the principles of democracy, maintain the rule of law, adopt non-violence means, seek open dialogues, and importantly, respect the universal basic human rights. We have written a letter to involved parties in Thailand in December 2013, but things have not improved. We are now compiling a soon coming list of people who take important roles in acts that violate the universal human rights at our website at http://thai-ahr.org rights abusers. These people, if you agree that the proofs are sufficient, should not be welcomed to civilized countries where human rights are strictly observed. At least, denying a visa to rights abusers may be instructive to them, and many others who may think they can still get by easily because of the privileges and power they enjoy in their home country. At this juncture, Thailand is at the brink of becoming a failed state and subsequent civil war. If you have been to Thailand, you should probably know very well of its potential value to the world. Please help us pressure all concerned parties so that they pursue peace, democracy, and respect for human rights, using only democratic and constructive means. Importantly, Thais must return to the election booths and use this part of the democratic elements as a temporary solution before dialogues, reform, and other civil acts can ensue on the path away from tragedies. We urge you all to do what you can now to help Thailand. Thank you for your kind attention and further actions. The Thai Alliance for Human Rights.